kids, y'all, and welcome to my review for Survivor Series. Man, this show was fucking incredible, man. The War Games match for both the men and the women were both fantastic, man. Especially the men with the Bloodline, man. The storytelling in that match with Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and of course Sami fully being accepted by the Bloodline at the end, man, was fucking incredible, man. We'll obviously talk more about this once I get to the actual match. But yeah, I fucking love this show, man. And yeah, let's just jump right in. So we started the show off with the women's War Game match between, of course, Team Demon Damage Control and Team Bianca. Now, first thing I want to say that I loved about this show is this is one thing that this show does way better than Full Gear was the matches. Only 5 matches were on this card, and there was nothing on the pre-show. Apparently, it was just like just their panel of Booker T and Jerry the King Lawler, and whoever else they had on there to do it. 5 matches. Thank you. Which is, I am definitely in the camp of less is more period. Because AEW, you guys know, has been just going insane with the matches. Like, All Out had, 10, 15 matches on it. Now, granted, that was combining the main show, the pre-show. So, there's that. Just a little bit inflated from that. But there was still a lot of matches on the card. Full Gear had, 6 matches. I had 6 or 7 matches on it. It was a little bit more manageable, but still. And the main problem I said, even when Full Gear had a much better card, there was still a lot of matches on that card that really didn't even really belong on the card and should have just been saved for a Dynamite episode. Now with this one, this was more or less the opposite. Every match on this card on the card of Survivor deserved to be on the card, and we're definitely worthy of being on pay-per-view. Minus the SmackDown Women's Title match, but we'll talk about that one later. Now, one thing I found kind of interesting with this, and this is the last thing I want to mention before we jump right into the actual Women's War Game match, was this year, as you guys know, Survivor Series it's well known or synonymous with the 5-on-5 elimination tag team match. That's what's kind of like every year. That's what Survivor Series is built around. For the last few years, it's going to be Raw versus SmackDown and everything, which seems like we're getting away from that and just basically going to be feuds of whoever, just going at it. Whoever has the biggest feuds going on to deserve it. Now, we didn't end up getting that this year. Instead, of course, we got War Games instead. Now, well, I love War Games, and I'm glad to see it's on the main roster. And these 2 matches, I think, were a great starting point for War Games matches on the main roster. I do kind of wish we do also get the 5-on-5 Survivor match. Now, granted, I wouldn't be surprised. It just replaces the elimination 5-on-5 match. Instead of just having 2 matches, that one is a 5-on-5 elimination match amongst the 2, War Games matches, and having one for the women and everything. It can get pretty convoluted, and you got to worry about the pacing of the show and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they just cut those out completely, but a part of me still hopes that maybe next year we might see the elimination 5-on-5 return alongside Warriors. Because I think you could, under the right circumstances, these 2 things could coexist. But if you were to ask me which one I would want more for between 2, I would prefer War Games because I just think War Games is better. I just prefer War Games over the 5-on-5. But I do hope maybe next year we do see the return of the elimination 5-on-5 because that's kind of what Survivor Series it's known for. Why Survivor Series is part of the big 4. But yeah, just want to quickly mention that. Now the women's War Games match itself was great. I had a lot of fun watching. There was a lot of great moments in the match. I wouldn't say this is the best of the women's War Games matches. Honestly, this is probably one of the weaker ones, but it still was a fantastic match nonetheless. We started off after everyone made their entrances. Bianca and Dakota were the first 2 in there, and of course they were going at it. We already know the rules of War Games. I'm not going to go over it. They go at usual things. They're fighting, throwing each other into the cage and everything. Dakota hits that scorpion kick, which I always love to see, man. They go at. Eventually, time runs out, and of course, Io makes her appearance, and she just goes off, bro. She rushes into the cage, and then she has a little thing with Bianca, where Bianca goes for a clothesline, but she manages to dodge it by doing a shit ton of cartwheels. That looked really fucking cool, man. Then once Bianca and Dakota are on the other side, she does a crossbody through both rings. She goes to the middle rope on both rings. Just goes right through to hit a crossbody on Bianca that I thought was really good. Also, one other weird thing about this match is that there was weirdly a lot of botches in this match. Nothing super major, but noticeable. We had with at the beginning with Io, we had her try and hit a Hurricane Rana from the top rope or the second rope onto Bianca, but it doesn't look like she got all of it. You had that one, then Later on, Io goes for like that move she does where she jumps off the second rope and just kind of like kicks her opponent that are like laying on the bottom turnbuckle. She kind of like overshot it weirdly before I tried to hit it again. She kind of made it work. And then you had Alexa when she ran into the ring. Some wires were in her way. There was weirdly and like I think there might have been like one other botch, but I don't know why there was so many weirdly a lot of botches in these matches. I don't know if I've just been nerves from the women. I don't think it would because most of these women have been in basically all the women's War Games matches except like Alexa and Bailey and Becky. They're the only ones that haven't had any experience in War Games. Or maybe the rings might, but because it usually dealt with the ropes kind of a little bit, maybe the ropes were a little bit slippier than they should be. I don't know why, because this was the start of the show, but I don't know. That's just something I noticed while I was watching the match, that there was weirdly a lot of botches in the match. Anyway, next up was Asuka. Of course, Asuka, and once Asuka gets into the ring, she has a little throwdown with Io, which obviously I popped big for, man. You guys know how much I love Io. You guys know how much I love Asuka. So obviously seeing these two go at it was always a huge treat. Nikki Cross was next up, and of course she comes in there and just starts throwing shit in the ring, getting the kendo sticks, chairs, trash buckets, trash cans, trash pails. She just starts throwing the weapons and just does her thing and just laughing hysterically. Weirdly though, half the match she's just standing like on top. She's either just chilling on one of the turnbuckles or on top of the cell, just watching everything go down, which was pretty interesting, man. Or she's just like laughing and like looking at the cage or whatever, man. It's just so good to see Nikki Cross back at it again in her old gimmick now that Nikki Ash. It's good to see classic Nikki Cross, NXT Nikki Cross, back on TV, man. She's great, man. Loving it. Then we have Alexa. Now, y'all know my history with Alexa. I have made my disapproval, to say the very least, of her very public. Whether it's in videos, whether it's on Twitter. For years now, I have not been a fan of Alexa. So when I saw that she was going to be part of WarGames, I made sure to keep a close eye on her. I wanted to see if she would just do anything in the match, and if she would do anything. Now, I will give Alexa Bliss in this match. Her performance was really good. She didn't really do anything crazy. Like, she didn't take any major big bombs. She didn't really do any major spots or nothing. Nothing really too crazy from Alexa Bliss. There was one spot I did like that from her that felt pretty cool, along with what happened in the opening of the match. But overall, she was good. She didn't detract from the match, but she also didn't really enhance it much either. Which for Alexa Bliss, I say that's good. Honestly, man, at this point, I just don't care anymore with my hatred towards Alexa like I used to have it years ago. Man, at this point, I just don't care anymore. Anyway, like I said, she runs to the ring, like the wires are in her way as she tries to get in there. She rushes in there, and bro, I gotta say, Alexa came in here fast and fierce. She was knocking everybody out. Then she has a little exchange with Nikki, hits a couple forearms, gets her down to her knee, gets her down to her knees, knee to the face, drop kick. Honestly, it looked really fucking good. So Alexa, I will give you your small golf clap. Honestly, man, like I said, Alexa looked pretty good in the match. Then next up after Alexa was Bailey. She came in there, of course, brought in the ladders, which barely didn't get much use. There was one really cool ladder spot, but the ladders didn't. But nothing really too crazy happened with the ladders. And then of course everyone, the fans were cheering, "We want tables, we want tables!" And of course Bailey, being the role model, gave the people what they want and brought in the tables. So that was pretty cool to see. She gets in there, of course, does her thing. Then next up was Mia Yim. She comes in there, throws in more trash cans. It looks like one of them didn't go through all the way, kind of bounced back to her. She had to free throw it in again. Like I said, there was weirdly a lot of boxes in this match. I just don't know why. Felt that was kind of weird, especially given most of these women have experience inside War Games. Whatever the case may be on that one, maybe it was just, I don't know, luck. Whatever the case may be, Mia comes in there. Next up was Rhea, and then after that, of course, was Becky Lynch. Then, of course, where War Games officially began. But a couple spots I forgot to mention real quick before we jump right before War Games officially began, once all 5 women, or all 10 women rather, were inside the ring. Nikki Cross hit a crossbody from the top of the cage. That one looked pretty cool. Mia Yim would hit a suicide dive across both rings. That also on, I believe it was. That one also pretty sick as well. There was a couple other spots as well. But once the match actually officially begun, of course, Becky, she's like, come on, trying to take on Damage Control. Eventually, Rhea would hit Mia Yim on the ladder and just crush her with it. That one looked pretty sick. Also, one of the things, speaking of like crushing and pinning people, one spot that I thought was also really cool is when Bianca was on like the in between area of the two rings, where the metal where the little metal pad thing is that connects the two rings together. Bianca was sitting up there, and a Damage Control brought in a table and basically just sandwiched her and pinned her up against it. That spot also pretty sick as well. Nikki, you also had when I believe it was when Rhea had her like submission hold she has in there, when she's like has her like opponent like elevate off the ground, and like Io was like running the ropes like 5 or 7 times before she did like a drop kick to the face. You also had Mia Yim. This was before the match began. I almost forgot this spot. This was another really cool spot where she got one of the trash pails, the trash can tops, the trash pails, whatever, and basically hit Io right on the throat with it. And bro, Io sold it like it was she like jumped up back. She like jumped backwards like 5 feet after she got hit with it. She sold that like death. And that wasn't the only that was the only trash can spot Io would take, because then when the match actually begun, Bailey, or not, I don't know, I can't say Bailey, Becky puts the trash can over Io's face, because she's like draped over the second rope where the cage is. She's by the cage and she's like draped over the second rope, and Becky just puts like a trash can over her and then hits a leg drop on her from the second rope. That looked pretty cool, man. It seems Io can't escape trash cans anymore in WarGames, and of course it wouldn't be WarGames unless Io was doing a moonsault off the top of the cage. Once again, looked fantastic, man. Now is it our most impressive one? No, but I don't know if there's any way Io can top doing a moonsault when she had a fucking trash can over her head. Like, what could possibly top that? Her doing it on fire? You know what I mean? Like, what could she possibly do? Maybe doing it with like with a chair pressed to her stomach? Like, what could she ever do to top that spot from WarGames? What was that? 2019, I think, is when that spot happened. It might have been 2020. Can't remember for sure. For certain, but yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever going to be able to top, if Io's ever going to be able to top that WarGame spot. That one looked really, that spot was just insane. And eventually, of course, we have the usual WarGame stand-up that we're used to. Now, at neither one of the matches did we get kind of like the full standoff, at least how it was in NXT, where, both, where you have like the UE on one side, and of course the other team on the other side. They're staring each other down. They come closer to where that little in-between area of the ring is, with the metal plate on there. They go over to the outside and just start brawling with each other. We never really got that like we did like WarGames 2018 with you had the UE with the War Raiders and Ricochet Pizza. My God, that match was fucking insane, bro. Anyway, nothing like that, but we did have Bianca and Becky going up against Damage Control. Still looked pretty cool. Still had a lot of fun with that one. And then we eventually ended off with Becky putting both Io and Dakota on a table as Bianca hits a leg drop from the top of the cage, which, bro, rip Dakota's midsection, because she took it right on it, bro. And yeah, all of Becky's we just came right on her, bro. Shout out to that one, man. She earned her paycheck today, man. She earned her pay. And that is where the match ends, with, of course, Team Bianca winning the match. We also had another spot that I thought was also pretty good, but also kind of looked kind of stupid, was with Alexa Bliss, where Nikki Cross brought out some handcuffs. The second she brought out the handcuffs, I instantly got flashbacks to JoJo Part 6 with Father Pucci and Jolene going at it, because they also fought with handcuffs on, and I just recently finished up reviewing the second batch of episodes, so that was on my mind as soon as I saw them. But it was kind of weird, because she's there with Alexa, and she's like trying to get the handcuffs on Alexa, which she does get one of them on, and then like it's kind of like a tug of war between Nikki and Alexa, trying not to get a second one on there. It also looked pretty weird. She's just tugging away rather than just like shoving Nikki Cross into the cage or something. It looked pretty stupid, but when Alexa put her on top of her shoulders and like dropped her down onto a trash can, that did look pretty cool. But yeah, that spot, I gotta agree with the JD on that one. That one looked kind of stupid, man. Anyway, that was where the match ends. Overall, a great match, a great opening, and yeah, just a great whip match overall. Like I said, this is probably one of the weaker women's WarGames matches we have gotten, but still a great match nonetheless. And I had a lot of fun watching it, and a lot of amazing spots during this match. And right before we get into the second match, which was AJ Styles and Finn Balor, we had a backstage segment with the Bloodline. And bro, the Bloodline. Oh my God, I've been loving this storyline basically since the beginning of it with Sami Zayn, man. It just the the booking of this feud, the storyline has been absolutely fucking brilliant, man. With Sammy, Roman, Jay Uso, all that shit. It's just been brilliant, man. It has just been absolutely fantastic. Also, one other thing, I forgot to completely mention this about EO's gear. Gotta mention this right now while I just remembered it. I don't think I've ever mentioned this on screen on any of the videos, but I obviously mentioned this a handful of times on Twitter. I fucking love EO's new gear that she's rocked since she came back to the WWE. Since it's like a mixture of her original gear she had back when she first came to the WWE, back when she was still kind of when she was originally a face, and she had her old, like basically just same Joshi gimmick she had from in Japan over to here. When she got here to NXT, and just mixing that with with the gear she started wearing after she turned heel on Candice LeRae, and kind of mix those two together, and it looks fantastic. It's easily her best gear, at least in my personal opinion. I fucking love it. It just looks amazing, man. I love her new gear. It's like the perfect balance of both of her gears mixed into one, man. It looks amazing. I just wanted to mention that real quick because I haven't mentioned that on the channel before. At least I don't think I have, but yeah, love EO's new gear. Anyway, the backstage segment is basically Jay telling Roman that Sammy's been lying, that he lied to him, and telling him that when he asked him if he talked to anyone, when he talked to Kevin Owens. He wanted to tell this and basically just, Jay, he's been wanting to kick Sammy out the Bloodline as soon as he came in, bro. So obviously he'll take any chance he gets to get him out there. And then Roman tells him, I'll handle this, I'll look into his eyes, and we'll go from there. He tells the wise men to call him, so then Paul Heyman uses Siri to call him Sami Zayn, which I thought was kind of funny. But then that's when we get to the match between AJ Styles and Finn Balor. This was a fantastic match, man. Started a little slow, but it picked up as it got on, and this match was fantastic, man. I absolutely love this match. Now, I love the entrances of both AJ Styles and Finn Balor as major entrances. Finn, now, first thing I want to talk about Finn's new music real quick, because when I heard that this man got new theme music, I'm like, oh, God, no, why, And a lot of WWE's theme music just haven't really been that good, compared especially when they changed it to wrestlers that already had previous theme music, and the original theme music was so much better, like Shayna Baszler. Johnny Gargano is a new victim of that, where they changed Rebel Heart, where it's like the same song, but they just changed the singer of it, and it doesn't sound as good. Like, I don't know why they changed it. Was it a rights issue or something? In that case, why couldn't you just use his way theme? It's way better. Whatever the case may be on that one, I'm not a fan of that one, but hey, Mike Bro on me gets there. We have with Finn Balor. Shayna Baszler is another one, man. There's a ton of wrestlers that have got new theme music that, for compared to the old ones, it just hasn't been as good as their old ones, man. There's been a ton of them. So Finn Balor, when I heard him, I was like, oh God, not him too. But I gotta say, after hearing it again tonight at Survivor Series, bro, I actually low-key kind of fucks with it, okay? I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I actually low-key fucks with his music, man. It actually sounds really fucking good, man. I'm like, oh shit, yo, this song actually kind of slaps, bro. Okay. I fucks with this new theme, and it kind of has a little bit of elements of his original theme. But yeah, I fucks with this theme. I didn't like it at first, but it's since grown on me, man. I actually kind of fucks with it. Anyway, so Finn makes his entrance. I love the fact that he came out wearing just like a plain, just like blank black mask. I thought that looked really cool as he made his entrance to the rest of the Judgment Day with, of course, Dominic. Also, one thing I found out while I was watching this match that I didn't know was the thing with Finn is that he was actually wearing Jordans, which I thought, or sneakers in general. I couldn't tell exactly if they were Jordans because I didn't see the Air Jordan logo, but I obviously saw the Nike logo, so I know he was wearing Nikes regardless. I think they're Jordans because usually whenever there's wrestlers wearing sneakers in matches, they're usually Jordans regardless, Jordan 1s. So these might have been Jordan 1s, they were just custom ones because I've never seen this colorway before, and you could see Finn Balor's logo was on the shoe a little bit, so these are probably custom Jordan 1s maybe. Like I said, I couldn't tell for certain if these were Jordan 1s or just some pair of Nikes he has lying around that he got customized or whatever, but either way, man, he wears sneakers to the ring, which I thought was pretty cool because I just assumed he wore wrestling boots. So I don't know if he always did this or this is something he's been doing now with his new gimmick change with the Judgment Day. But either way, man, I thought that was pretty cool that he actually wears sneakers to his match. He wears sneakers in his matches. I just thought that was cool. Anyway, so he makes his entrance, he does his thing. Then AJ Styles comes in there with the OC, and he even wore a gas mask as his mask. He wore a gas mask similar to the mask used on the logo of the OC, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool that he actually came out wearing a gas mask, man. That was fucking cool. It looked pretty cool too. And then of course you have Michael Cole on commentary mentioning the Bullet Club again, which, bro, when I heard that shit, at Crown Jewel, when I heard Michael Cole straight up say the Bullet Club, I was like, what the fuck? Did this man say what I just think he said, bro? Did he just mention the Bullet Club? Did my ears hear correctly? Did I hear him say the Bullet Club? And he did, man. He mentions it again. And you had Corey on commentary saying, "Oh, I bet you like me in like something like you. I bet you like me in Twitter's good graces or something like that." Man, which, yeah, man, the commentaries have been so much better now since Vince is gone because he's not screaming because Triple H isn't screaming in their ears anymore. So that's just cool, man. I've been loving the commentary since Triple H has taken over, man. Nobody's screaming in their ears anymore. They can actually just be themselves. Hopefully, Moro's going to come back soon. Please, we need Moro, man. Like, listen. I have my tune on Michael Cole has completely shifted since Triple H came in there. Beforehand, I was kind of indifferent to the guy, begging Moro to come back and be the lead play-by-play man. But yo, when you've been hearing Michael Cole recently since like SummerSlam, you know why he's kept his job for as long as he has been, because he's actually a really fucking good commentator when he doesn't have Vince screaming in his ear, man. So listen, I gotta give Michael Cole's props, man. He has been great on commentary, basically since Triple H has taken over, and that continue on throughout the show as well. So yeah, I still do hope Moro comes back. We need him. The Triple H era will not be complete unless we have Moro back. We need Moro back in there. We need Nigel McGuinness to come back. Let them be the commentary on Monday Night Raw or something. Just please. Just give me Moro. Just Moro. I'll take just Moro, man. Just give me Moro, man. He was so good, man. And I would love to hear him back in the WWE. Especially just like throw him in there with the tribal chief, man. Like this man will give you gold when you put him in front of the tribal chief, or you put the tribal chief in front of Moro and Allen, man. You'll get so much great shit from him. But anyway. Enough of that. Let me gushing about Moro and hoping he comes back. Man. Anyway, AJ Styles makes his ring, like I said, he wore a gas mask. They mentioned the Bullet Club on commentary, and the match begun. This match started fast and furious with these two going at it with the collar and elbow type of, and they were just basically trying to rip each other off as it kept going on. And then AJ would start attacking Finn's knee, and bro, Finn, when AJ started attacking his knee, this man sold this shit like it was fucking dead. This man was constantly every time AJ hit his knee, you thought this dude got caught in a mini explosion by how much he would just throw himself to the floor, man, bro. He every time he got hit, bro, this man sold it like he was hit with death, man. It looked absolutely amazing. AJ would hit a forearm and as Finn is down on the ground, sitting up, hit a forearm. AJ would talk his shit, and of course, and then eventually, as the match progressed on, of course, Dominic would get involved. The Judgment Day would distract the referee. Dominic would swipe at AJ's feet, sending him down from having him crash to the apron and go down to the floor. Then, of course, the rest of the OC come in there. They beat on Dominic. Damian Priest comes in to help him out. They go out to the outside, and then AJ actually manages to get a punch on Dominic before he throws him back out to the outside, and the OC and the rest of Damage and of Judgment Day just mess around with each other on the outside. AJ would eventually lock in the Cab Crusher on Finn Balor, and once again, this man was selling his ass off. You know, so many times he's like where he's like trying to tap, and like there was one part where he got like really close to tapping, man, but he ended up not. He goes into his inner Samoa Joe and just grabs AJ, just starts throwing him, slamming him down to the ground over and over until he finally lets go. Goes for 1913. That actually AJ would flip over and counter into his own 1913, which I thought looked really fucking cool. I thought that spot looked really cool, man. And then eventually, AJ would hit the phenomenal forearm to win the match. Fantastic match, man. Would be down to see another one between Finn Balor and AJ Styles, man. Fantastic. These two are incredible. Been really digging the storyline between the OC and the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day in general has just been fantastic, man. Loving what they've been doing with Dominic, especially with that Thanksgiving video of them beating up Ray at his house. That one was pretty cool. Which one thing I gotta say, I love about that video. I love the fact that you could see Ray was adjusting his match when he opened the door, making it seem like, making it seem a little bit more real that he didn't have his mask on while he was eating Thanksgiving because he was home. But then we found there was cameras out there. It's like, okay, let me grab my mask and put it on. I thought that was a nice little attention to detail that Murray didn't already have his mask on. That you could see him kind of adjusting his mask like he was putting it on and just kind of adjusting it to make sure it was on right. I just thought that was a nice little attention to detail there. But yeah, love that video. That video was entertaining to watch, man. And yeah, been loving the storyline with Dominic, man, and Rhea. Fantastic stuff. Then we had the SmackDown Women's Title match, and I gotta agree with JD and probably the rest of the internet with this match. This match wasn't good. Now, was it the worst match I've ever seen? No. Was it the worst women's match I've ever seen? No. That honor still goes to Carmella and Charlotte. Like, what was it? Backlash 2018, I think it was. That match was horrendous. This match was not good. Now, no, like, was there things I liked about the match? Yes, there was a couple things I did like about the match. Um, the Shotzi's entrance I thought was pretty cool when she came out with her tank and fired up the cannon and everything. I love Shotzi Blackheart, man. You guys know how much I loved her in NXT, and yeah, I liked her entrance, man. She came in there. Ronda came in here. She had, of course, had Shayna Baszler in tow, screaming, like talking in her ear as they made their way to the ring. They start going at it, man. Eventually, they keep not Shayna. Ronda is obviously predominantly on the offensive. One spot, there were a few spots I did like, man. One of them was when Shotzi was I believe on the second rope, goes for like a crossbody or jumps from it, but then Ronda actually managed to counter it into like a slam while she was in midair, kind of like catch her. I thought that one was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty cool spot. They showed the replay in slow mo. It also looked pretty cool. That was probably the best spot in the entire match, honestly. But we had that one. You had Shotzi going for a suicide dive on Ronda, but Shayna managed to shove her out of the way, and she ended up taking the hit instead. That one was pretty cool as well. There was, of course, the infamous botch of the match where Shotzi goes for like a spinning DDT on the inside of the ring while Ronda is on the apron of the ring. She tries to flip it over and hit it, but Ronda doesn't like fall through with her or whatever the case may be. Either way, it looked fucking horrible when when the match actually hit. She was not like kind of like in sync with Shotzi. Just looked terrible, man. There was a crossbody Shotzi did over the barricade into a crowd of people. That one was probably also a spot that was probably the best spot of the match. That one was probably a bunch of plants. No way those were they just like Shotzi would just leap onto real fans, in attendance for a crossbody with Ronda. Those were probably plants, more than likely. Those were plants, but that was still a great spot. Eventually, anyway, Ronda would hit her like arm drag on the second rope, which looked okay, and then of course went for the armbar, and Shotzi basically instantly tapped out. Like I said, not a good match. Not the worst thing I've ever seen. Not the worst thing I've ever seen. But yeah, was easily the worst match on the card, man. And just not good, man. Just not good in general, man. Get the belt off her. Put it on Shayna, please. That's what I would do, man. Just put the belt on Shayna, man. Maybe she can somehow resurrect this division. We'll have to wait and see on that. Really, I think Sasha's probably the best bet at this point. But in fact, that's what they were chanting. We want Sasha all throughout this match, man. Which, yeah, I'm right with you, man. I wanted Sasha too. Anyway, after that, we then get the second and the final Bloodline segment before we get to before we get to the actual WarGames match. And that's when of course Sammy's been brought into the locker room with Roman Reigns, and he asked him, "Did you lie?" And he asked him, "He lies." Sammy realized that if you lie to Roman, it's over. You cannot. Jimmy is one thing, or Jay rather is one thing, but lying to the tribal chief. Death sentence. So he tells the truth that he did talk with Kevin Owens, that Kevin talked to him, and he didn't mention anything because he didn't want to distract him and put more on his plate than he already had with the WarGames Advantage match coming right up. Which also, one thing I found was kind of weird is that isn't the Advantage match for WarGames always a ladder match? But yet, for neither of the matches this year, neither of them were ladder matches. They were like regular tag matches or a regular match, which I thought was kind of odd because back in NXT they were always just ladder matches. Don't know why it wasn't a ladder match this year, but hey, maybe next year they'll be back to ladder matches. I mean, the matches were great, to be fair, nothing wrong with that, but I'm just like, they're supposed to be ladder matches. Why weren't they ladder matches? I don't know, man. Whatever the case may be, So anyway, that's why he tells him why he lied. Roman, of course, tells him to look him in the eye, tell him that that you will not betray us, because he told him Kevin told us that I should betray you guys before you guys betray me. And Sammy, on the verge of tears, tells him that he is thankful for what he has with the Bloodline, that he has been accepted into the Bloodline, and that he knows how, and that he is one of the few people that are even able to get into this locker room, and he does not take it for granted. And he obviously is just on the verge of tear, hoping to God Roman doesn't kick him out of the Bloodline. Roman accepts his apology, and they, of course, share a hug, man. And Sammy's, of course, super happy about this, man. Honestly, bro, the Bloodline, ever since Sammy's been introduced to the Bloodline, has just elevated the Bloodline even more than already has with Roman, man. Sammy, he's just been fucking killing, man. He has been stealing the show every time he's on screen, man. He has been amazing with the Bloodline, man. Then we had the U.S. title triple threat match between Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, and Austin Theory. This match was fucking amazing, and this was easily the best match on the card up to that point. But obviously the WarGames match with the Bloodline, that ended up being my favorite match on the card. This one ended up being second, but either way, man, this match was fucking incredible. So everyone makes their entrances. Weirdly, though, Austin Theory's entrance video was Beyblade, which I thought was kind of funny. I'm like, why am I seeing a Beyblade? And then we find out that, you know, they were sponsored, that they were sponsored by Beyblade. I'm assuming this is the new line of toys, or maybe this is a freaking anime they're working on. I don't know. But they were sponsored by Beyblade for this match. So that's, I guess, why Austin Theory's video entrance movie video thing was Beyblade. I just thought that was funny. Him coming out with his music, that there's just Beyblade on the screen, man. I just thought that was funny. Anyway, as soon as the match begins, Bobby Lashley clotheslines Austin Theory over the top rope back to the outside, and then Austin gets back up, and then Seth Rollins clotheslines him over the top rope to the outside. I just thought that was funny. Obviously, Austin Theory is not a very popular man currently. Anyway, as the match progresses on, we eventually have Seth Rollins hitting suicide dives on both Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory on two different sides of the ring. One on the front, from the hard cam angle, you have Bobby Lashley in the front, I believe in the front or behind or in the back. While Austin Theory was on the front side, if I remember correctly. If not, they were switched. Either way, he just does suicide dives back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then once both AJ Styles and both Austin Theory's and Bobby Lashley were both on the backside, I believe it was. Then Seth Rollins just leaps over the top rope and lands on Speed Man. That spot looked amazing, man. Eventually, you would have Seth. You would eventually have him lock Seth into the Hurt Lock. While Austin Theory tried to lock him in the sleeper hold, Seth would hit a pedigree, near fall. You would then have him leaps from the top rope. I believe he went for the Phoenix Splash. I believe is the movie calls it. You know, when he goes from behind and flips in midair to hit a splash. I think it's called the Phoenix Splash. I might be wrong with that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But he ends up missing. Austin yeets him out to the outside. Goes for a rope. Hits his going blockbuster. Looked absolutely incredible, man. I love the way he basically leaped completely over Bobby Lashley and hit it, man. It looked amazing, man. It looked incredible. So then he goes for A-Town down. Bobby manages to get out of it and lock him into the Hurt Lock. And then Austin goes up to one of the turnbuckles, climbs up it enough and jumps and basically pushes off of it to obviously flip over him to get him down on the mat. Goes for the pin, but then Seth hits a frog splash to break up the pin. That honestly looked really fucking cool. That one was probably one of the best spots of the match, man. Eventually, you would have Seth notice that both Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley are basically a little bit in front of each other, and then Seth kind of notices and he uses Austin Theory as a platform, jumps off from him and hits a curb stomp onto Bobby Lashley. That honestly looked really fucking cool, man. That spot looked absolutely amazing. Then Austin Theory tries to throw him out to the outside, but Seth manages to counter and throw him out to the outside, but he stays on the apron. Then Seth goes for, of course, a superplex into the Falcon Arrow, but before he can get the Falcon's Arrow, Bobby Lashley comes in there, spears him, and because he had him up there, Austin Theory has enough time to kind of get over him to go for the pin, and actually gets the 3 count to become the new United States champion. I thought this match was phenomenal, man. I love the ending for it with Bobby hitting the spear and basically Austin kind of just being in the right place, having enough time afterwards to get the pin on him. I just love this match, man. I thought the ending was fantastic, man. Yeah, Austin Theory is your new U.S. champion. Honestly, kind of surprised me. I thought Seth was going to retain his title match, was going to retain the U.S. Championship, keep doing his thing with it for a while, while Austin Theory's been doing his own thing without the title. You know, he's been rebranding himself. Been loving what they do to Austin Theory after they got rid of the Money Bank contract from him. And yeah, he's the new champion. So I'm definitely curious what they're going to be doing with him now being U.S. champion again with this new character change he's been working with. So yeah, definitely very interesting to see where this is going to be going on with Austin Theory. But yeah, surprisingly, he actually put the belt back on him. I thought Seth was going to retain, but no, he did not. And then we get to the main events, ladies and gentlemen, which is the men's WarGames match between the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre with, of course, Kevin Owens. So the men's WarGames match started off with Jey Uso and Pete Dunne starting the match off. We opened it up with them kind of staring each other down, and Pete Dunne on one ring and Jey on the other ring. They're both staring each other down. Pete's jumping in place and everything, getting all high, ready to fight Jey Uso. And he's like, come on, get over here. And Jey's like, oh, you want me? He's like kind of like leaning over the ropes in between by the little metal plate thing. They got to stare each other down like who's gonna make the first move. Jay ends up coming to Jay ends up coming to Pete Dunne. Pete, of course, does Pete Dunne things and starts damn near dislocating all those fucking fingers and shit, man. Love me some Pete Dunne, man. Hopefully he'll get his name back soon. I'm tired of this Butch bullshit. Let him just give me back Pete Dunne. But Baby says he's wearing his old ring gear again, so we're getting there. Soon enough, he'll probably be going back to being called Pete Dunne and no more of this Butch bullshit. But either way, man, I've been loving the Brawl and Bruce, man, and I might as well mention this now, but one thing I got to agree with commentary, because on commentary they mentioned this, about how Sheamus has had a bit of a resurgence this year. I completely agree, man. Like, not only has he done amazing shit with the Brawl and Bruce, and of course Triple H being in charge now has also helped that a lot, but also just the matches he's been having this year, man, have been fantastic. Of course, the match he had with Walter and Clash of Chaos has been great. His deal with the Bloodline has been great, man. And yeah, I definitely agree that Sheamus has had a bit of a resurgence this year. And yeah, he's been probably the best he's ever been, if not for at least the last few years, man. Sheamus has been incredible. James has been incredible this year. Anyway, so then eventually Rich Holland comes in there. And then after him, and then after that going on, once we get to the next member for the Bloodline, Jimmy, he's ready to go in there, help out his brother out, man. He's ready to go. But right when he goes out there, the tribal chief grabs his shirt. Which, by the way, I was wondering if he was. I couldn't tell for sure, but the tribal chief was actually sitting in a chair in the cell. Like, everyone else was standing. But then you, of course, have Roman Reigns in the back, and like in the back of the cage, just kind of sitting down, just watching it. But I just thought it was hilarious. He's just sitting there, he's just chilling this entire time on a chair. He gets to sit down in a nice, comfortable chair, and just chill. But anyway, he grabs his shirt and pulls it back, and he just shakes his head, and he looks at Sammy and tells him to go. And then he tells Jimmy to get back on the cage. Jimmy's kind of confused, and Sammy kind of like slowly gets out there, kind of confused with all this, and then like slowly approaches the ring. As he gets inside, man, he was in no rush to get there because he's probably just as confused as the rest of us were at the fact that he went in there instead of Jimmy Uso. And I believe it was Corey on commentary mentioned like there's no better chance, better way to prove his loyalty than having him have the team up with the one guy, the Bloodline that he hasn't been able to get along with, which is Jey Uso. So they go in there. They actually do start to team up a little bit, where Jay holds up Rick Holland up on the ropes and gets the last punch allows Sammy to get a punch in there, and then Sammy's like, yeah, and he kind of like taps it like in the back of his shoulder, and then of course Jay's like, hey, get your hands off me, boy, and they kind of start arguing for a little bit, and there's another spot where Jay is on the outside, right against the cage, and Rich Holland comes charging towards him, but Sammy pulls him out of the way before Rich Holland can get him. He just kind of just slams himself into the cage, and then Sammy actually like points his finger at Jay, be like, I saved you. You couldn't hear this at first, but eventually when they replayed them, when they later put this in the replays, you could hear him saying, and also from different camera angles, he said, I saved you. So he was like pointing at him, like, bro, I saved you. Just so you know, I saved you. Sammy's been trying his damnedest to get Jay to like him, man. That's been working. Anyway, after that, next up is Drew. He goes in there. He's just wreaking havoc against everyone. And then this was pretty funny. He says, "I'm feeling very OC tonight." I just thought that was funny, man. And then after Drew, we have Jimmy finally gets inside WarGames, but he does not come. But he comes prepared. He goes under the ring and grabs out not one, but 3 fucking tables out there. Puts them into the ring. Of course, the crowd's going ballistic because tables. We all love tables. He gets inside the ring, and then like Jay's is about to start setting up one of the tables. Sammy tries to help out, but of course, Jay pushes him away, be like, "I got this. And then like Sammy comes in there, man. They start arguing, and then like Jay pushes Sammy, then Sammy pushes him back. They start arguing some more while Jimmy's trying to keep the peace between them. And then the Brawling Brutes come back to once again start attacking them. Then KO comes in there. He throws in a bunch of chairs. He just starts hitting everybody with chair shots, and even throws a chair right at Jimmy's face. Poor Jimmy. Or I think it might have been Jay, actually. Of course, Sammy and Kevin Owens finally have their little face-to-face little thing. That one was obviously fair. That obviously was really good. And then eventually, Solo Sikoa then comes in next. He has a little stand-up with Kevin Owens. They start going at it. They start teaming up each other. That was great. But, rip KO's spine, because It looks like KO was gonna hit him with like a pop-up power bomb or a power bomb onto like the metal plate that connects the two rings. But Solo counters it, throwing Kevin on, basically throwing Kevin onto the metal plate, directly center of it with his back hitting it first. And bro, that had to have sucked. That had to have sucked regardless, bro. So rip at Kevin Owens' spine, man. Shouts to him, man. Seriously, that spot had to have been nasty, and that spot had to have sucked. Anyway, after Solo Sikoa, Sheamus came into the ring, and then, of course, finally, Roman came, and then Roman was, of course, finally last one to come in to the WarGames match, and, of course, WarGames would eventually begin. Then, as the match progresses on, we have basically all the Brawling Brutes will come with Drew and Kevin Owens, all hitting the 10 beats of the Balor onto the Bloodline, bro. And bro, I was counting along with the crowd. I'm pretty sure they went up to like 25. Was how many they did? They might have done more, and I'm just miscounting. But I counted to like about 25 when I was counting them and doing it while they were doing it, man. That spot was awesome, man. But a couple things I forgot to mention was when Solo Sikoa did a reverse on whatever Kevin Owens going in. Kevin Owens back hit that like metal plate. I just love that little smirk Roman Reigns did to Paul Heyman right afterward. I thought that was funny. And then when Sheamus tried to get into the ring, Sammy tried to hold the door back, but Sheamus managed to get him off there and just slammed the door right in his face, bro. Rip Sammy's face. Anyway, once everyone's in the ring, after we have the 10 beats the Balor. Amongst the chaos, Jay actually super kicks Sammy, and of course, the crowd wasn't having it, chanting, "Asshole! Asshole! Asshole!" Chanting asshole to him. So, yeah, now obviously commentary was debating, like, oh, was this on purpose? Was this an accident? I personally think this was probably more of an accident than Jay doing it on purpose, but there was a good chance Jay might have just done it on purpose anyway. Anyway, they had a series of super kicks on Rich Holland, the Usos do it along with the 1D off the second rope. Then Roman Reigns spears him through one of the tables that was leaning up against one of the turnbuckles. That went through him. That was an amazing spot. Another table spot was a Solo Sikoa throwing Kevin Owens down onto the cage, throwing Kevin Owens through a table. That one looked really good as well. Eventually, Kevin Owens would go for a pop-up powerbomb and on Roman Reigns and went out into a stunner, but Sammy stopped the pin. He grabbed the ref's hand, went into his inner velveteen dream, and stopped the ref's hand from counting and holding back. And I just love that little look Sammy and Kevin Owens give each other right as they see each other after Sammy does that and stops the ref's count, man. Love that shit. They start talking to one another. He says, like, "Is this your family? Is this your family?" As he pulls up Roman Reigns by his hair. Sammy then hits a low blow onto Sami Zayn, man. The crowd is losing their shit. I'm shocked by this. And then he speaks to the tribal chief. Now, we never know what he actually says. I don't think we ever actually hear what he ever says. At least I can remember. I might be wrong. You do, and I just don't remember it. But I'm pretty sure we never hear what Roman says. Anyway, he hits a huluva kick onto Kevin Owens and basically presents Sammy as a sacrifice to Jay, hits a splash and gets the 1, 2, 3 to win the match. The Bloodline is victorious, and then Jay finally accepts Sammy into the Bloodline. They have one massive hug, bro. I'm losing my goddamn shit. I'm popping like crazy, bro. That they hugged it out, and then Sammy is now fully integrated into the Bloodline, man. This was an absolutely fantastic match, and the storytelling of it was chef's kiss, amazing. Now, this is something I want to talk about real quick, and this is when we'll end the video off. This is something that now Jay mentioned in his review that the Bloodline's eventually going to turn on Sammy, which I think that's the case. I think the story does end up with Sammy getting betrayed by the Bloodline. I think that's going to happen eventually, and Kevin's going to be his backup and whatever. I do think that's going to happen. But one thing I've kind of noticed I think we should start considering is that everybody's been questioning who will be Roman Reigns the title, who will be the tribal chief for those championships. Now, we know that there's rumors about The Rock coming back from WrestleMania, which even if he does come back, which I think he will, I hope he does, that would be an amazing match. It should not be The Rock taking the titles off him. A lot of people have been throwing out Cody Rhodes. It should be Cody that dethrones the tribal chief. And I do agree with him. But I think if we should also start adding Sami Zayn to that category, especially if the Bloodline betrays him, and especially if the Bloodline turns on Sami and betray him. If that's the case, I think Sami should actually be the one to dethrone Roman, or the very least should be contention with him. Like I said, I think Cody is definitely a great choice as well, but I think we should start considering Sami Zayn. And I think that would be amazing if Sammy's the one that gets the rub from Roman Reigns. But yeah, I'm not saying that they should go with Sammy, but I definitely think it's just a strong possibility. And definitely something to think about that we should maybe start considering Sami Zayn as the one to throw with Roman Reigns. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I definitely think we should start considering Sami Zayn in that conversation as well, man. But yeah, I fucking love this show. Overall, I did enjoy more than Full Gear, man. And yeah, overall, I'm going to give Survivor Series this year a 9.5 out of 10, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on my socials if you feel like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.